There you go. Okay. So my name is Andreas. I'm one of the co-founder of a company called Kredd. Kredd is a P2P marketplace lender, and we challenge financial markets characterized by unhealthy competition, high prices, and lack of competition. Innovation, sorry. So these are kind of like the traits we're looking for when we look at financial markets. So which markets have these traits in Norway right now? So no surprise here. It's the market for consumer debt. I actually think that this is the most dysfunctional market in Norway right now. And so I'm going to tell you guys two stories. First, a story about the consumer market for consumer debt, then how Kredd is part of the solution to the problem. So in 2014, a wave erupted in the banking system in Norway. Within the span of 3 years, starting 2014, we had 5 new consumer banks entering into the system. And they were all pure consumer debt banks. So what happened to the supply? It almost doubled. From 2012 to 2018, it almost doubled. And at the most, it actually grew almost 3 times as much as the total household debt. So this is pretty crazy. We haven't seen this before. So you might think, okay, a lot of new banks, a lot of growth. Well, this must result in lower prices. Well, no, it didn't. The only fall you see here is due to lower funding costs. And if you see the average consumer debt loan, we might have different figures, but it's around 14%. And then you see the mortgage rate, it's 2.5%. The math does not add up. If you compare the collateral, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so it's a really small market. Only 3% of the total household debt. So it should be a problem, right? Well, the interest burden is more than 13%, and it's growing. Have you seen these ads before? We provide interest rates from 8.99. This is Bank Norwegian. How many get this rate? Well, 2.3%. So almost no one. And their average rate is around 16%. And then there's the marketing and the predatory lending. Can anyone tell me what the rate is on that picture? Me neither. It's impossible to read. So they try to hide their cost as effective as possible. And then back to the innovation in the market. This is how much each of the banks spend on marketing over their total cost. So they spend 70% of their total cost on marketing. It's just pure marketing. They don't care about the prices. This is why. If you click on a Google ad on, or a Bank Norwegian ad on Google, they actually pay up to 1,000 kroners. Each time you click that ad, you don't have to apply for a loan. And then they use these loan agents, which basically is just a marketing channel. So these guys, they get customers and they sell them to the banks for 5%. So you can imagine if they buy these for 5%, then they have to set a higher interest rate, right? Okay, so who profits from this? Well, obviously, the shareholders. And here you can see DNB and Bank Norwegian and their return on equity. So Bank Norwegian has a 3 to 4 times as high return on equity as DNB. And bear in mind that they have a lot bigger capital stock than DNB has because of their risk. What about the depositors? Okay, so they get around 2%. Not a lot, right? They get the crumbles. So you can see here's the breakdown. Agent get 5%, the bank gets 10, and then the depositor is left with 2%. And then there's the borrowers, right? So these guys are actually sending people into real financial problems. And this is becoming a big problem because they can sell their loans afterwards. So I'm running out of time here. So why isn't anything happening? Well, nobody wants to remove the punch bowl, right? Because this is a really good situation for everybody. Everybody's making a lot of money. We're going to try to remove the punch bowl. So we're going to target the 50% of the market that's prime, like the best borrowers. And by doing that, we're going to create a new market between the mortgage rate and the consumer debt financing. So starting on 2.99 and going up to 10%. There's nothing there in Norway right now. We also have lower costs, which allows us to do this. In our platform, you can actually check your rate before applying. So we don't hide our costs. We actually try to highlight our costs because we think we give a really fair deal. So you can go into kredd.it right now and check your rate. Quick just to finish up, investors in our platform, they get around 5% after losses. And if somebody stops paying back to the investors, they can sell their loan for a pretty good, from 70 to 90%. So if you look at the risk-return ratio here, I haven't seen anything like this. And it's transparent and it's personal. And one thing to add, it's actually, if you're lending money between people, it's actually a higher chance that it's going to pay the money back, because it's a person on the other side, not a big bank. To wrap it off, we're actually spending money on real new technology. So we have a credit model that prices risk with several sets of data. So we use a lot of data points. So when we get access to PSD2, we're going to use transaction history, and everybody in this room gets their personal rate. So then we have like 1,000 different rates. That's when it becomes fun. Thank you.